to make sure everybody who I know is in the middle of their workday gets to watch this later. Okay, so we're going to be going over targeted hashtags. If you're in my personal team chat, I put out a challenge this morning for us to get a couple sets of targeted hashtags. Okay, so first I want to explain like what even is a targeted hashtag, because I think this is kind of newer terminology for most people. Hashtags are what you use on Instagram. You can also use them on Facebook, but I think we're more so used to them on Instagram. Oftentimes when people are using hashtags, they're using really popular stuff, right? Like hashtag love, hashtag boss babe, hashtag entrepreneur, right? And those are really, really common hashtags. And so what happens is tons of people are using them. You have so many people using these really common hashtags that your post kind of gets lost in this sea of other people and it's not quite seen as much. So what targeted hashtags are is hashtags that are much smaller. There's way less people who are using them. And they're also specific to your niche or brand on Instagram. Now, Instagram branding, Instagram niches, right? That is a whole thing in and of itself. Really, what it means is what are you sharing about? What are the 3 main topics that you are sharing about on your Instagram? I actually have a pre-recorded training where I kind of go more into detail on niche. So if that's something that you're needing, message me afterwards. If you're not on my team, I'm on Facebook, Mandy Michelle, and then you can also find me in the Q Mafia team chat. And I can send you that recording that goes into a lot more detail on niche because I would be here for an hour explaining that alone. So once you have your niche, which are your 3 main topics that you're sharing about, these targeted hashtag banks are just going to make your life easier. They are directed to a smaller group of people. And basically what that allows you to do is kind of dominate that hashtag group so that Instagram starts showing it to more people. Instagram is ran off of engagement. So the more people that you get to engage with your post, like, comment, share it, right? That is going to tell Instagram, hey, people are really liking this post. We should show more followers this content. And so when you start in those smaller groups, you're going to be able to get a little bit more traction because you're not going to be getting lost in a huge sea of tons of Instagram influencers. Okay. So, what I'm going to actually walk you through doing is making these hashtag banks. Utilizing them is really easy. What I'm going to suggest doing is having a note section in your phone. So, I'll show you mine. It basically just says hashtag banks. And then here's one of mine, which is for business. Here's another one, which is for family. And then I'm actually redoing, I did have a travel one, but I deleted it because I'm redoing it. So those are pretty much the 3 things I talk about. I talk about my business, my family, and travel. Those are my 3 main niches. So I have a hashtag bank for each of those categories. Does that make sense so far for everyone? So once you have those hashtag banks, it's really easy to utilize them because what you're posting is probably going to fall into one of those 3 categories. So for me, when I put up a reel or a post that has to do with business, I go into my notes section and I literally copy and paste my hashtag bank into that post or reel as a comment. So I'm putting up the content, I'm doing my post, then I'm copying those hashtags and I'm leaving a comment on my own post or reel with this hashtag bank. Because you're going to pre-make them, you guys, it's going to make your life that much easier and you're going to know the hashtags that you're using are the right size for your account. I think most people are under 5,000 followers. Is anybody over? Will you raise your hand if you're over 5,000? I think most people are under. Aubrey actually did a really fabulous training on this. If you don't know who she is, you should follow her. I don't know her handle. I can drop it to you or someone maybe can in the comments. She actually works doing Instagram marketing and social sales and stuff like that. And she did a whole training for our 1500 club on this. And so she basically said, you want to stay in the smaller hashtags that meet the size of your profile. Considering most of us are under 5,000, I kind of just made a cheat sheet for you guys. So I'm going to drop this cheat sheet into the Q Mafia page when we're done, because I know some of you guys aren't in my personal group, but this was basically a challenge that I dropped this morning to my, I have a momentum chat. And for those people, they were making their 3 sets of hashtag Aubrey Wilder. That's a really easy, I should have known that. That's her hashtag or her Instagram name. Go follow her. She's great. So what we're going to do is we are going to make your 3 groups of hashtags. Each of them we're going to put 30 into. Instagram is toying around with trying this whole less hashtags is better thing. Aubrey said for right now, we should still be using 30 until that's something that's really solidified. So each of these banks is going to have 30 hashtags. If at some point Instagram changes to favoring less hashtags, then you'll just go in and make these smaller, okay? But for now, the thing that I need you to do, first step, what are your 3 pillars or your niches or your categories, whatever you want to call them? What are the 3 main topics that you are talking about on your Instagram? You need to write those down. I really suggest this in the note section of your phone. That's the very first thing that you need to know. I'm going to use Carolina, who's on my team, as an example. She was the first person that I helped do this. So her 3 categories are plant lady life. She talks about her plants all the time, gardening, tips and tricks for that. She's a Latina mama, so she talks about being a Latina mom. She makes jokes about it. She puts out reels with content very specifically for Latina moms, that type of stuff. And then her business. These are her 3 categories. So she is going to make a hashtag bank for each of these. Each one is going to have 30 hashtags. So total, when she's done with this challenge, she will have written out 90 hashtags. Okay, is everybody on the same page with that so far? So what you're going to do is you're going to go onto Instagram and you're going to start looking up these hashtags. 5 of your hashtags for each category need to have less than 1,000 posts. 5 of your hashtags in each category are going to have less than 5,000 posts. 10 of the hashtags are going to have about 10,000 posts. And then 10 of the hashtags are going to have 20,000 posts. Okay, so you'll have 30 in each category, but it's broken down by this. Okay, and I will type that into the chat really quick in case you missed it. So 5 with 1,000 posts, 5 with 10,000 posts. Oops, no, with 5. 5 with 5,000 posts. 10 with 10,000 posts, and 10 with 20,000 posts. Now, if you don't know what I mean, I'm going to explain that now, so don't panic. So when you're on Instagram and you're going through your hashtags, you are able to see exactly how many posts that hashtag uses. Okay. So when I do this, I actually go to my own profile. So I'm looking at my own profile on Instagram. I would go to the post that I'm wanting to add hashtags to. I already did it on this one, but I'm just showing you. And then I'm going to click like I'm going to comment on my own post. Okay. You click the little caption bubble. Down here is where you can actually write your post. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go hashtag, put in the hashtag sign, and I'm going to type in something that I want to make a hashtag out of, right? So maybe this is a business post. So I'm going to type in entrepreneur. When I start typing in entrepreneur, Instagram actually starts populating different popular ideas of hashtags. And if you look really close, it'll tell you, I know this is backwards, but it'll tell you how many people have used that post. So the post entrepreneur life, 18.3 million posts have been done using that hashtag. So imagine my little Instagram account with about 6,000 followers being in this big, huge sea of a hashtag that has over 18 million posts in it. I'm going to get lost. Nobody's really going to find my post using that huge hashtag. So what I would do instead is I would scroll down further. You're going to start seeing posts that have less hashtags that have less posts. So like this one right here is 570,000 posts. That is still too big for my account. So I'm going to keep going, keep going, keep going all the way down. And I might find something like entrepreneur, let's see, entrepreneur, oh, that one's spelled wrong, lifestyle with the money sign. This one right here, entrepreneur lifestyle. It has 5,000 posts. Okay, so that one would work for my category that has 5,000 posts. I need 5 hashtags that have about 5,000 posts. So I could put that into my list, right? Finding the smaller ones, you guys, is sometimes hard, but they are in there. Like if you scroll all the way down, let's see, entrepreneur life goals. Okay, entrepreneur life goals has 1,000 posts, and I can see that there. So sometimes this just takes a little bit of work with getting creative with your post, which is why you should have some kind of an idea, right? Like have an idea of what you want your hashtag to be, and then scroll through these populated ones that Instagram has and find one that fits the size that you need. Okay. Now, sometimes it's getting really creative. Like I'll give you an example. One of my hashtags for my family is family time with 2 heart emojis. Okay. Because family time by itself had way too many posts in it. But when I kept scrolling down, there was a smaller hashtag that said family time heart heart. And that one had less posts in it. So that's the one that I put in my hashtag bank. So you're basically going to do this for each of your categories. So Carolina, who's our example that we're using today, she is going to start looking for plant lady hashtags. She's going to type in a bunch of stuff. Maybe she types in plant lady, garden life, gardening tips, plants. I don't garden, so soil, I don't know, seeds, something like that. She's going to type in these keywords and she's going to find 5 hashtags that go with that category that have 1,000 posts, 5 hashtags that go in that category that have 5,000 posts, 10 hashtags that go into that category that have 10,000 posts, and 10 hashtags that go into that category that have 20,000 posts. And what she's going to do is just put this into her note section, and it's going to end up looking like this, like mine that I showed you, where I have my category family and I have my 30 hashtags in here. Now, I went in order. So when you're looking at the way my hashtags are, the ones at the top, these are my really, really small ones, medium ones, and then the larger hashtags at the bottom. And that just kind of helps me out if I ever need to like erase some and add them in there. I can kind of tell, depending on where they're at in that blurb, what size the hashtag is. Are there any questions so far? Do you need me to clarify anything? Makes sense? Okay. So once you have these hashtag banks written, I want you guys to do a post today and use one of your banks. Okay. So this is all trial and error. You might have a hashtag bank and use it a couple times and be like, man, I'm just really not getting traction. That might mean that you need to go back in and redo some of the hashtags. That's why I'm redoing my travel hashtag bank right now. It's all trial and error. But when you use these targeted hashtags, it's just going to give you more success to reach accounts that kind of fall into our category. And you're going to get a little bit more interaction because you're not going to be lost in those sea of hashtags. So that is what we're going to do. This is a very, very quick training. That is all I have for you guys. I hope that that's really helpful. I think it will be once you have those copy and paste chunks of hashtags, and just make sure that anything you put up that's going to show on your wall, whether it's a reel or a post, you always want to have hashtags in it every single time. Hashtags are how you're going to find new people, whether that means people are using those hashtags to search content, like maybe somebody's looking for gardening tips. So they're looking through the hashtag gardening tips. It's also a way that Instagram shuffles our posts around. And people who interact with a lot of gardening content, Instagram is actually going to show them more gardening content. So you're basically keywording all of your posts in order to try and find more of your people.
When you're picking your 3 categories, I would just make sure that you're picking them for things you're actually posting. I pretty much don't post reels or like actual posts on my wall that don't fall into one of my 3 categories because I want to find people who are wanting to engage with that kind of content. If I put up some kind of random posts and someone follows me, right? If I put up a gardening post, let's say for the love of plants, I did something like that. And all of a sudden, like, I'm going to put up this one gardening post and I'm going to put a bunch of gardening hashtags. Maybe I get 5 people who follow me from that. But in the weeks to come, when they realize this girl posts nothing about gardening, she has no idea what she's doing, and she put that one post up, I'm going to lose those 5 people who followed me from that one post because that's not actually the content that I'm talking about. So you want to make sure your categories are things that you're actually sharing about frequently, and that any content you're putting up on your wall falls into those categories so that you're bringing in the right followers to your page who are going to stick around, not just people who are going to follow you and unfollow you 3 days later. Okay? And that's what these targeted hashtags are going to do, is they're going to make sure you're continuously finding people who fall into your niche, and you're going to be able to reach them better because you're not going to just be finding those big, huge influencers who don't care about your content. Okay. Any questions before we hop off? And if you're doing this and you need help later and you're like, I watched the training and I have no idea what I'm doing right now, please feel free to message me. I would be happy to help you guys. Okay. I hope you have a great day. I'm excited to see your post. Tag me or send me the post when you put it up so that I can like and comment. I am at raising_crazies with a K on Instagram. And I would love to like and comment on your guys' posts. Have a good day.